having a garage. So today, I have a problem that most Fisker Karma owners are going to have or have already, and that is the push button shift mechanism kind of gets a little laggy and you have to press it multiple times. It's kind of unnerving, you know, when you back the car out, you get it out in the street, someone pulls down in the street and you're sitting there trying to shift your car from reverse into drive, and there's nothing really you can do other than just keep on trying. Eventually it gets into gear. I was thinking it was because maybe there was a speed sensor that was still indicating some speed or something like that. No, that's not what it is at all. It's actually kind of the push button switches. You can kind of move your finger around and it actually actuates. So something's wrong in there. I know the way the dealer would fix the problem would be they would take the switch box out, put in a new switch box. So that tells me something's wrong in that switch box. So let's take it apart, find out exactly what's in that switch box. Maybe there'll just be some corrosion on there we can take care of and put it back together, good to go. So I've kind of peeled back here the splash well, which is a fabric material, and you can see the bolts up in there. So it's going to be that second one. Pretty tight in here, but we'll loosen this bolt here. 10mm. And then positive battery terminal should come right off. All right. Alright, got it out. That's pretty cool. So, looks like it's put together with just T... It's like T10, I would guess. Yep, T10. And inside of here, there's some clips on the back. Well, just one. Okay, and then there's our keypad assembly. Okay, there's the inner workings of the switch, and so we can peel this off. And I'm seeing initially seeing some white stuff down here. I'm not quite sure what that is. So, yeah, it's just actually silicone. The silicone's around the LEDs in here. So there's our switch contacts. So I think I'm going to examine this under a microscope, and then we'll clean these electrical contacts in here, and then clean the contact pad here as well. Put this whole thing back together. I bet you we'll be fine. Okay, so I did a little investigation to figure out how this works. And what happens here is that each one of these selector buttons, the P, R, and D, actually actuates two different contacts. So, for instance, the neutral would be these top two here. Drive would be these two over here. And, you know, park is these two, and so on. And so, some of these modes were more difficult to switch than the others. The park wasn't even very bad. It would go into park almost every time. Reverse, it was having a bunch of trouble. And then sometimes drive, especially when you'd be in reverse and you'd want to go back to drive. So what I did was I measured some of these contacts here. What happens is this little gold pad sits on top of these contacts and basically bridges the gap here. And what I found is that when I tested this with the meter, none of these connected. So there's two separate independent switches that are completely independent from each other. So it's probably kind of a safety thing that you're engaging two switches at the same time to actually perform one function. So I think what we should do is I have some of this kind of stuff. This is really good for cleaning contacts. And some Q-tips. I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of put it on. You're just supposed to spray this on and kind of let it dry. This stuff's really good for, you know, wipers and that kind of thing, you know, for potentiometers and that kind of thing. Probably should work really well here. So what you don't want to do too is you don't want to get any cotton fibers on here, because that'll sure as hell cause problems later on. So kind of what I'm thinking what happens here is this silicone pad here, maybe it outgasses, and then it starts to develop a little bit of corrosion on these gold pads. These are all gold, so they really shouldn't have any corrosion on them, but you know, over a period of time, maybe that's what kind of goes on. But we'll clean these up and throw it back in, see what happens. Okay, I think another thing to do too is check this out under a microscope. Make sure there's no lint on any of these pads here. That one looks alright. Now you can see there was a piece of actual lint on there, so that one looks alright. See, there's something on there too. There, it's gone now. Okay, you can see there's something there. It's really important that all these pads are clean. And also this right here, you want to make sure this is also as clean as it can be. Kind of take a look at these. Let's see. All right, let's see if it fixed the problem. There we go. On the brake. Oh, much. Oh, yeah, much better. See that one push? That totally fixed the problem. You know, I can't believe that that shifter shifted into all those gears that quickly with one press. It has never done that, and in fact, it was one of those problems where you kind of just put it away in your mind and you forget that it's actually happening. But then it becomes really annoying, like I said, when there's a car coming down the road and you're trying to get it into gear and, well, it won't shift. So this is gonna be really nice to drive this car, you know, knowing that when you tell it to do something, it's gonna do what you tell it to do. Well, I'm about done with the Fisker now, so I'm gonna take it off the lift. Next week, there'll be another car I'm gonna introduce into the channel. We're gonna do all kinds of things to it, tear it down far enough to where we're gonna be able to see the engine and transmission and that kind of thing. So this is the most in-depth thing I'm gonna have on my channel so far. Kind of excited to get started, but you're gonna have to find out what that is next week. Thanks for watching.